Kevin Durant domino has officially fallen. We just saw KD get traded to the Houston Rockets for Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, 5 second-round picks, and the 10th overall pick in this year's draft class. Lot to unpack here. First things first, make sure to like and subscribe. Go into the description to submit your video idea. And let's get into KD to the Houston Rockets. First, I'm going to talk about the team that got the best asset in return, the Houston Rockets. This was the right move. In my Kevin Durant trade prediction video, I said that KD to the Rockets was the best possible move for both parties. The Suns, or I guess all parties, the Suns, KD, and the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets had a great young core built in foundation before acquiring Kevin Durant. You had Reed Sheppard in last year's draft class, Amen Thompson the year before that, Cam Whitmore, Tari Eason, Jabari Smith Jr. This is probably, if not the strongest young core in the league. It was definitely top 3. This Houston Rockets core was going to have them in the playoffs year in and year out. But the one thing they were missing was their lead 1A scorer. Alperen Sengun is a great player, and he's going to be an amazing playmaker at that 5 position. Also will give you about 20 points and 10 rebounds as well, but they really did not have that perimeter threat. It was supposed to be Jalen Green, who they drafted in the 2021 class, but he has not put together one consistent season throughout his whole career, and that was one of the reasons they decided to go ahead and look for a bigger fish. Also, the Houston Rockets head coach, Ime Udoka, he's going into his 3rd year with the Houston Rockets. We know Ime Udoka to be a really heavily defensive-minded coach. We saw that with the Boston Celtics. He came in and instilled that mindset with the Houston Rockets, getting all of these really good defensive players, and especially guys like Amen Thompson and Tari Eason. And then when you look at their number 1 perimeter offensive threat and Jalen Green, who's supposed to be their number 1 scorer, he doesn't play lick of defense. So something wasn't matching up. They decided to make a move. They went out and got one of the biggest fishes possible in the NBA in Kevin Durant, and now they're ready to truly contend for a championship. The pieces that they gave up in this trade, Dillon Brooks, I'm not losing sleep over that. He's a great defender. He's pretty inconsistent on the perimeter for on the offensive side of the basketball. We're not going to ask him to do more than just catch and shoot, and even then, that's questionable. So I'm not losing sleep over losing Dillon Brooks, especially when we have Tari Eason in the Raptors, when we have Jabari Smith, guys that can play his position and maybe even at a higher level at their peak of powers. Then it's Jalen Green. I talked about it before. He was someone who never put together a consistent season for the Rockets and did not play any defense. And for a Houston Rockets team that builds itself upon defense, you cannot play a guy like that. I was actually questioning at some point in the season whether or not they were going to bring him off the bench, but they weren't able to do it because he was their best offensive threat on the perimeter. So I'm also not losing sleep over Jalen Green. I think that it made sense to move Jalen Green. The contract that they moved in Jalen Green had to match up to get Kevin Durant. It was either Jalen Green or Fred VanVleet or Alperen Sengun. Obviously, Jalen Green's the name to move out of those 3 guys when you're getting KD. So I think the players that the Rockets gave up, very favorable in their favor. 2 guys that I did not think were going to be part of their long-term plans. Then they did give up the 10th overall pick. Everyone and their moms knew that the 10th overall pick was going to be in that trade. There was like no mock trades that did not include the 10th overall pick. So it made sense. We knew the Suns were going to get at least one of those picks back, and it was the 10th overall pick. And then 5 second-round picks, I mean, one of those probably are going to end up being something good for the Phoenix Suns or being included in another trade for the Phoenix Suns. So I like the fact that the Suns did get 5 second-round picks, even if they weren't able to get maybe any other of their picks back from the Houston Rockets, like that 2027 first-round pick. So for the Suns, after talking about the Houston Rockets, I think this is a great trade for them. You got your 1A dynamic scorer in Kevin Durant, who also adds to your 3-point shooting, which you desperately needed next year. The Houston Rockets, great trade. KD, go get them a championship. Now for the Phoenix Suns. I don't know. Obviously, when I was talking about my Kevin Durant trade from before, I wanted the Suns to get one of the dynamic young pieces that the Houston Rockets had, maybe even 2. I thought Jabari Smith was someone that the Suns really should have targeted in this trade. And after that, we could have looked at Reed Sheppard. We could have looked at Cam Whitmore. And the fact they were able to get none of them really, really hurts. I think Jabari Smith was one of the guys that the Rockets really did not want to move on. But the fact that we couldn't get Reed or Cam Whitmore, 2 of their lesser value young pieces, I don't know about that one for the Suns. So it sucks we didn't get any of the super good young pieces. We do get Jalen Green. I wouldn't consider him a high-level young asset right now just because the Suns have Devin Booker and Bradley Beal, who play the exact same position as Jalen Green. I don't expect Jalen Green to play one game as a Phoenix Sun during the next season. I think he'll get shipped. I think the Suns are going to look to maybe get another draft pick or two for whoever they ship Jalen Green to. Maybe that's a team like the Brooklyn Nets who are looking to get some more scoring. Maybe that's a team like any team that could add some more scoring in their starting lineup. Maybe they can get a Jalen Green. They can revitalize his career on a more consistent foundation on the next team he goes to. Maybe the Rockets were just not the right place, especially when they got Ime Udoka. But yeah, I don't expect Jalen Green to play second for the Phoenix Suns. It's going to be really hard to move off the Bradley Beal contract, so you have to expect that both D-Book and Beal will be on that Suns team. There's no room for Jalen Green. But yeah, the 10th overall pick. I like this. I think that the Suns can attack a lot of holes on their offense with this 10th overall pick. In my last video where I was the GM for every NBA team for the NBA drafts, I had the Suns getting Jeremiah Fears at pick 10, which is really good. He can be a long-term guy next to Devin Booker at that point guard position. But not only can they get Jeremiah Fears, you're going to have guys like Derek Queen potentially fall to pick number 10. If you don't want to take a freshman, there's guys like Nick Clifford out of Colorado State, one of the best college basketball players last year, is an all-around player coming out in this year's draft. Should be a late lottery, early non-lottery guy. He's a guy that can play for you right now and give you good consistency. Cedric Howard, another guy that kind of fits that bill. Only played 6 games last year, but proved to be a really offensive threat. I really like the fact that the Suns got the 10th overall pick back in this trade, and they can for sure add a bunch of guys that can help them right away. 5 second-round picks. Also, like I said before, 1 or 2 of those guys are going to turn into a real NBA player. That's just the fact of the matter. That's the math. 1 of those guys are going to turn to a consistent player that you can either move or add to your new foundation of a roster. I'm excited to see what happens with those 5 second-round picks. Maybe some of them are included in the Jalen Green deal. Maybe not. Maybe they just try to keep on building. But they got the 5 seconds, and I do like that. And finally, Dillon Brooks. I think the Suns team's still going to try to win games next year. You're not going to waste a year of Devin Booker's prime. Getting a guy like Dillon Brooks to slide into that small forward position gives really good perimeter defense next to Devin Booker, which is something they need, and a guy that can hit a 3 on the perimeter. I do like the fact that the Suns were able to get Dillon Brooks so they can actually compete next season. Other than that, though, I think the Suns kind of sold short on this. I think Kevin Durant was worth a little bit more. They only got 1 first-round pick back in this deal, and honestly, no assets that are too exciting. I mean, Jalen Green's there, but we're probably going to move off from him. We don't really have any guys that we got back from this trade that we know can be a part of this team for the long future. No Jabari Smith. No Tari Eason. None of these guys. No Reach Shepard, no Cam Whitmore. We got no great young pieces, which sucks for the Phoenix Suns, but they also didn't really have amazing leverage in this deal as well, because when you look at what the Miami Heat were willing to give up, no. I mean, are you serious? They weren't willing to give up Jaime Jaquez. They weren't willing to give up the 20th overall pick. Haywood Highsmith, that was crazy. The fact, I mean, Pat Riley's on a different planet. I don't know what he's doing with that team, but the Suns were in no conversations with the Miami Heat if that's what they were going to give up. Then you look at the Spurs. The Suns really wanted a Stephon Castle or the 2nd overall pick back in that deal. The Spurs were not willing to give that out. So they had to go to the Houston Rockets, who didn't even have to give out their best offer because, honestly, the competition wasn't that big. And the Rockets got the best end of the stick. The Phoenix Suns got sold short. The market wasn't amazing for Kevin Durant. And I think they're lucky to at least get 1 of their picks back in this year's 10th overall pick. So overall for the trade, who I believe won the trade, I'm going to be honest, it's going to be the Houston Rockets. You got one of, if not the best scorer in NBA history in Kevin Durant. We just know what he's going to be able to do for that team. He adds so much perimeter shooting. He adds the ability to penetrate a defense and raise up in the mid-range as well. I think that's something they desperately needed because of the lack of shooting on this team last year. Yeah, Kevin Durant in Houston, surrounded by so many young playmakers, defenders, athleticism. It's going to be so much fun to watch this Rockets team next year. How is he going to play with Alperen Şengün? How is he going to play with Amen Thompson? This Rockets team is set. For the Phoenix Suns, you didn't get enough back. It sucks. It's bad, but it happened. Hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown. Make sure to like and subscribe. Be on the lookout for my final NBA mock draft, which will be posted tomorrow on Tuesday. Hopefully no big trades will happen before the time my mock draft is done in the NBA draft because that would suck because my predictions will probably be off. But yeah, thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Comment down below who won this trade. My opinion, it was Houston and KD. What do you guys think though? Thanks for watching. See you next time. Peace.